Hello, Supercars in Seconds here. Today we're going to have some fun showing you the 5 most interesting features of the McLaren 675LT Spider. Up around the red line, it just pushes really hard. Like all of the other Super Series McLarens and Ultimate Series, these towers will extend out to move the wing up and down. But just look at that rear view there. You can't see the cabin of the car, so vice versa, they can't really see out. It creates that much more downforce. It is a full 60% larger than it was on the 650S. As I mentioned, you may remember the 650S was kind of inside the fenders it ended. This one goes and actually has to be shaped across the corner of the car. An amazing aerodynamic feature. Part of 40% more downforce than the McLaren 650S. So I wanted to show you how huge this rear wing is and a slightly different angle than it is on the other more conventional road cars from McLaren. The LTs are always more aggressive, and I'll put you up where the rear view mirror might be now. You can see that the wing back there is in its down position. I'll push the aero button, there it is. Now the wing should be standing up. And that's not the braking position, that's just its standard driving along position. When the wing is up, you literally cannot see out of the rear view mirror. The materials the 675 was made of were a big key to the car's weight savings, around 220 pounds over a 650S equivalent. So you'll notice that the carbon fiber, these enormous splitters and so on, are matte finish, they're satin finish on the carbon fiber. They did not add the lacquer to them. You'll see up here on the side mirror, you'll see it on this little side plane and so on. It's all matte finish. That saved just a couple of pounds over putting the clear lacquer on it, which was again part of their weight saving. A big deal is the rear fender here. This whole rear fender, all of this is carbon fiber. This is carbon fiber down here, as are these little cheeks in the back with the little hole where you can get some of that air pressure out of the rear wheel well. And the great big enormous rear wing was also carbon fiber. Down inside here you can see the exhaust pipe, another exotic material being titanium for the full exhaust system. The weight savings were continued into the plexiglass rear cover with these hollow areas right through there to get some heat out of that rear area. The wheel was, again, every component was lightened up. This is an 11 by 20 on the rear here. In the ultra lightweight design, this is diamond cut. That wheel's under 23 pounds, so a carbon fiber wheel isn't much lighter than that, so incredibly lightweight. If you think about that, if they do that to every component through the car, that's how they ended up with a 220 pound weight saving over an equivalent 650S. So again, that sound is created by a full titanium system that weighs less than half of the weight of the standard exhaust. You can see that lovely shading, as I've mentioned a few times today, but it really is beautiful. All those heat shields protecting it, of course, but it crosses over. So it comes, this exhaust you're looking at is actually from this bank of the engine over here, and it will cross its way over and straight out the back. Aerodynamics are an enormous part of why the long tail exists in the first place. Going back to the old McLaren F1, I'll show it now. Of course, that car was extended almost 3 feet. This is nothing like stretched as much as that, but of course you can see the wing sticking out. It's only just a couple of inches longer than a 650S, in fact, but you can see where it is. It's all in the useful areas of downforce. These dive planes are added. Of course, this sticks out almost 4 inches, where on the 650S it's very even with the body. This, of course, is creating huge downforce. You'd normally see it as an extra piece of carbon fiber on the outside, but McLaren didn't think that looked good, so they included it as a both downforce creator and airflow director around the car. compared to 650S. These enormous side skirts sticking out again over 4 inches right here. This little intake for the engine was pushed out another 15 degrees from a 650S, all to create more airflow around the car. So the powertrain is really a big key to this car. You'll see our plexiglass covers lifted up here, and that's accessed with this little carbon fiber tool. The shaft is carbon fiber that's sitting in your toolkit. That goes into these little brackets either side. You put it in and turn. This one's clockwise, this one anti-clockwise over here. And then it gets supported up via a carbon fiber shaft that gets clipped into these little brackets when not in use. So we have our 3.8 32-valve twin-turbo V8 driving the rear wheels through a 7-speed Graziano transmission. The difference is the transmission is the software doesn't let the car creep when you're stationary. You have to hit the gas to make the car move, making it more effective for launches and things like that. The LT type cars all have the spark plugs being turned off in sport mode only. So during a gear change, you get that jolt in the transmission, which is very, very exciting to be a part of. You do get some nice pops and bangs out of this beautiful titanium exhaust. You can see it going like a purple tint there from use as the temperatures start to rise. Really very, very impressive. 666 horsepower and 516 pounds of torque. Now, because the dry weight of the coupe was just over 2,700 pounds, only 88 pounds heavier for the Spider, the power to weight ratio was just over 500 horsepower per ton. So let's explore these cool features and drive the car. I've got the roof down so you'll be able to hear that crazy exhaust system back there. And let's hit it. Oh. The lightweight is incredibly obvious. Through Batman's corner here, just completely flat. Ridiculously flat. Oh. Up around the red line, it just pushes really, really hard. Let's try these big brakes out. Oh, man. It's super light and up on its toes. Going for a very hard right-hander here, and she just sits here. Downshift to instant. And everything about it is just faster, lighter. Incredible performer. Just worth it just to be quiet for a minute, just to listen to this amazing car. It's pretty funny doing a U-turn here. The steering lock is terrible. But what's nice about that, the rack is shorter, so it travels less from side to side, meaning the steering is faster. As I wiggle the wheel here, you'll see me move around. Oh. It's violent on your body. So, standing start, just hit it. When it sounds out of that exhaust on the upshifts, unbelievable balance in the car. The steering is so tight, I could never describe it. Power, just relentless. Man. So, as a performance driving fan, the LT McLarens are just different. They are wired a completely different way. They're prepared by the racing team, not the road car team. So all of that learning they've had over 50 odd years of racing at the highest level is transferred into this car. The internals of the engine spin up so quick. The steering response is just unbelievable. No other car is like this in the modern era, for sure. Not even the other McLarens. Because the rack is so short, as I mentioned earlier, it does make it difficult to do U-turns and things because the steering is so tight. But I think that demonstrates how focused this car is on giving you that track experience 24/7. So pulling back into the dealership here. Pulling back into the dealership, it's really exciting to drive. I think that's the takeaway here. It's so different in its personality, and yet it's so smooth because just the rear wheels are being driven. This super tight steering makes the car just glide over everything. And I think it, again, I've said it before, but I think it follows your inputs better than really any other car I've ever driven. And I've driven some beautiful cars, as you can imagine, but this is much more engaging, and you're really involved in the process of driving the car. Inside the car, this became an option as a secondary carbon fiber area all the way down the door panel, which was very beautiful when you were inside the car. I'll focus on the passenger door over there, and I'll zoom in a little so you might be able to see it. Very pretty. And then also they had the carbon fiber sill panels with the McLaren logo. One interesting thing on 675LTs, the VIN numbers could not be cheated. They were sequential. So this one has just arrived. You see the VIN number ends 675, as in the car, then 511. Now this is a Spider. The first 500 cars were the coupes, so therefore this is about the 11th car that was made. So now inside the car, on 12C and 650S, the air conditioning controls were on the door, if you remember. For this car, they moved it into the center console. So I'll push the little picture of the fan here. Then up on my screen, one of my favorite little sort of quirks the car has is the little man that you're controlling where the air goes has a helmet on. He knows he's in a McLaren. As a slight difference from the 12C and 650S, on this car, I push active to make them all illuminate. This left-hand dial that has the little H for handling, if I put you on a little display up here, you'll notice the words are shown here. I'll turn the left one up to sport. Here it goes, there's sport. That's got it. Now it shows you what modes that you're in down there. I'll put the other one into sport as well. If I push now stability control one time here, nothing happens here, but up on the main display it now shows ESC dynamic. I've shown that in several of my other videos. I'll link in the 720S video where I show all the dynamics and the variable drift control that the newer models now have. So you may have heard the car just adjusting slightly as I turned it up to the sport mode. I'll do it again and you may hear the pump running down by my feet. I'll put the camera down here and see if you can hear it. That little sound there is the suspension adjusting the pressure inside the hydraulic lines. Of course, 675 being part of the Super Series with McLaren doesn't have any anti-roll bars, so that sound is the pump. It's actually the power steering pump is dual purposed for the suspension, and that's pumping in more pressure into those hydraulic lines. So really very, very impressive. The nice thing about Dynamic is this was the first McLaren to have a little bit of reduction but still keep the traction control on for you. You'll notice on the left display it shows that it's off, but it's actually just reduced. Pretty clever stuff. So moving down again into the center, here's your convertible top operation. This one, push it down and hold, or lift it up and hold. We'll put the top up or down depending on which way you push it. This is my favorite. This little button here, I'll push it down. That controls the little window behind my head. Of course, being the LT with that titanium exhaust, you get to hear it a lot more. So let's give her a little rev. So thanks for watching that. That's the McLaren 675LT Spider. Really a fabulous car because the nose is so pinned. Unless the big wing is up, that back end will get a little light through the corners and keeps you really on your toes and very involved in the driving process. One of the cars today, I missed that clutch, and the manual engagement of the car. An LT McLaren will certainly keep you engaged. Please subscribe to the channel. I want you to be a part of this and have some fun with us along this journey. And if I can answer any questions, please ask them down below. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.